here to discuss the hostage release further. Let's bring in global affairs analyst Johnathan Wachtel. Johnathan, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to circle back to something Alina just said, that she was in that interview said they were moving the goalpost. Do you feel like that's happening here, that the goalpost keeps moving and that's why these protests keep continuing?
It's a fluid situation. You're going to have a goalpost moving when you have this type of, narrative going on both sides, and the world looking at this crisis and pulling everybody in different directions. You're going to have that happen regardless. In terms of the protesters coming out, obviously this is an issue that has ignited so much passion. What they're aiming to do here. Some of them surely are upset about the civilian casualties and the fighting going on in Gaza, but there are amongst them people who would love to see from the river to the sea, the end of Israel as a state, as a country. So it's got all sorts of things mixed in there, and obviously all that will be surfacing in the course of the day. So even when you're talking about a ceasefire, that for some people is stopping the fighting and trying to figure out a way forward to have a peaceful settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians. But for some of them, it just isn't that at all. It's a cancel-out game for them.
And let's talk about this ceasefire. Every time we get on this topic in this conflict, the ceasefire seems so delicate, we can barely move forward or move past it. With the rescue of the 4 hostages, does this impact the proposed ceasefire? It
does, to the extent that it's not a particularly positive thing from a Hamas perspective, certainly, to see some sort of operation like this. And it was a pretty heavy-duty operation, a lot of planning. There's been the loss of an Israeli soldier involved in it, loss of civilian life in carrying out this operation. Apparently one of the vehicles, Israeli vehicles, became trapped and they tried to take it out, extract it out there, and there was a lot of firepower that had to happen with that, and that, of course, caused unwanted deaths. So this is obviously yet another one of those punctuated, bloody events. When we look at the timeline and how this is playing out, yes, Hamas is not going to look at this, but it doesn't change things overall. Hamas is all about their survival, their ability both to be in power within the Gaza Strip and their ability to exert that power, but also to carry on with their campaign to destroy the state of Israel, which they have said over and over they want to do, and they have the benefactors of Iran pouring in military and financial support with them, and Qatar as well, in terms of support, and other countries that sympathize with what Hamas is seeking to achieve.
I want to look over to the Israeli side. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking earlier at the hospital where the hostages were taken. Let's take a look at what he had to say. I don't know if we have, I think we do have that. As we're gathering this together, what significance do you see by Netanyahu physically being there with these hostages after they were rescued 245 days later?
Right. It's a appalling number of days for people to be held in captivity like that, and under conditions that, though they look like they're okay, some have died already. We're hearing stories of rapes and other, abuses happening to them, atrocious abuses. And living in that condition and not knowing whether you're going to live to the next day or the next hour is terrifying. And for the families as well, it's mortifying. In terms of Netanyahu, obviously this is in terms of internal domestic consumption for the Israeli population that has had to go through one tragedy after another in terms of looking at this and worried about the future. This is obviously a glimmer of hope and something that will probably boost his popularity in some quarters amongst the Israeli population. Basic truth is there's a very large swath of the Israeli population that would love to see Netanyahu out of power, that look at him as part and parcel of the problem and the inability of the country to move on and to accommodate some sort of solution with the Palestinian people, so that we have an end of this cycle, this horrible cycle that we've seen of violence that has caused so much tragedy and bloodshed over the decades.
I want to go back to these protests outside of the White House today. Of course, we have seen protests for weeks and weeks now popping up all over the U.S. Where does this land with moving the needle here? I mean, it keeps it in the news. It keeps us talking about it. It keeps people informed of the situation. But in terms of impacting things overseas, does it even really help?
It brings it, of course, into the front burner of attention. But the basic truth is there are conflicts going on internationally that are much bigger than the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.